How blessed it is that we have this wonderful planet, this mystery school of Mother Earth, with its blessings and challenges, highs and lows, but what a schoolroom. Well, it's my privilege now because it's been a while since we've had Reverend Dr. Sylvia Erickson, and who better than to present the next talk, which is My Understanding. Welcome along, Sylvia. Welcome back. Now, if you unmute, and we'll be on our way.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Well, today we're going to talk about spiritual understanding and also about my understanding. So Charles Fillmore, in his book, Christian Healing, writes, and I quote, "The will must be strengthened by being constantly used in divine understanding. Spiritual understanding quickens and makes alive. Claim your Christ understanding at all times and declare, I'm not under any spell of human ignorance. I am one with infinite understanding." So what he's saying here is that the will is informed by the power of understanding, and they act in unison to lift us out of human ignorance and into oneness with the Spirit. In Proverbs, it warns us not to lean unto thine own understanding. In other words, trust not in the understanding of the human intellect alone. It must be linked with spiritual understanding. You know, if we go through life, just using the intellect alone, it's like going through life with one arm tied behind the back. We can never act in our highest capacity. We are limited in all that we can do until we develop our own spiritual awareness. Charles Fillmore, in his book, The 12 Powers, tells us of these two kinds of understanding. The understanding of the intellect, where we reason and compare ideas and come to logical conclusions, and this comes first in our soul's development. Then, as our consciousness expands and becomes more enlightened, we move into the second phase of understanding, which is spiritual discernment. This moves us into an intuitive knowing of the living spirit within our very own selves and moves us on until, as he puts it, we ripen into wisdom. Then our character is strengthened and refined, and we live truly, knowing the truth of our own spiritual being. He tells us that understanding, knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom are so closely related that it's difficult to define one without the others. In fact, we cannot reach the wisdom stage without first growing into the awareness of knowledge, intelligence, and understanding. He goes on to explain that when we focus our meditation upon the understanding center, which is located in the front brain, then we, we stimulate the ability of the mind to apprehend new ideas of the laws of life and thought. This uplifts us into spiritual discernment, which gives us more and more insight into the truth of our divine creator as we enter deeply into our prayer life. You know, living our lives in prayer and meditation opens up our consciousness and enables us to attract all avenues of knowledge from this vast web of life that makes up every atom of the universe. Do you really want to know what is best for you? Take it to your divine creator in prayer. and the answer will be given to you. You will then be spirit-led into making the right decisions in all your own situations. Psalm 119 tells us, "Give me understanding and I shall live." So we need understanding to fully live our life. Now, in June 2021, I had a stroke. It wiped my brain clean of all memory. I couldn't recognise anyone at all, and no one in my address book. It diminished sight in my right eye. I received beautiful cards, but had no idea who had sent them. I couldn't recognise anybody's name. So if you sent a card and received no answer, please forgive me, for it was out of my control. When I came home from hospital, I sat in front of my computer, had no idea how to use it until my son came to my rescue and gave me lessons on it. My son, Lars Eric, is my rock and does everything for me. He cooks my meals, gives me my medications, and I thank God for him every day. It's taken 12 months to slowly get my memory back. I'm getting a little bit more each day. And now when I read my address book, I can put faces to the names, which is wonderful. At first, I was very upset. I couldn't understand where I had to go through such an awful experience. I had always believed St. Paul when he told the Romans, all things work together for good to them that love God and to them that are called according to his purpose. And I thought, well, that refers to me. I've worked for God all my life. So why have I have to put up with this awful thing? So I said a few strong words to God. And then I prayed for understanding every day. Then I remembered the words of Winifred Wilkinson Houseman in her book, Your God-Given Potential. Now, I know I've quoted this before sometime to you all, so you should remember this. And I quote her now. When we have true understanding, we build something to stand on, for feet are in the metaphysical sense symbolic of understanding. When you're meditating, take your attention away from the nerve center in your brain and let it drop to your feet and say to yourself, my feet are placed on the firm rock of understanding. And when you understand this, and you understand that it is developed in both head and feet, not only will you have the light in mind, but you will have the ability to apply it in your world. And she goes on to say that understanding is perfected in love. And without love, it cannot be completely awakened in a spiritual way. So I stopped my strong words to God and I turned right round and meditated on God's love. And soon I became calm and I understood that there is a reason for the stroke. And day by day, I will begin to understand that reason. And I have the feeling now, relax. God has it all in hand. So with understanding comes love. We no longer work from the intellect alone. We work from the heart where love dwells. Love is the very truth of us. To act from this loving truth at all times completely changes our way of life. It fills us with loving compassion and brings us into right relationship with our indwelling divine presence. For love is the holy glue that binds us all together and with right relationships with all other beings. When we live with love and direct love from our heart center, we will find that we attract our God-given good in every avenue of life. Circumstances and situations fall into their rightful place. The right people come along to help us at the right time, and we live with an inner joy of spirit that sustains us through all our experiences, all the awful ones too. Life flows with spirit and all is well. And just a few words to conclude from the great prophet Isaiah, who tells us that when we have developed spiritual understanding to the stage where we offer help to all others who need help in so many different ways, after our spiritually led actions, he says, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thy health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee, and the glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. And so I look forward to that. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Reverend Sylvia. That is amazing. Living proof of living the truth principles. And I'm glad that we've got that on record so that we can look at it again during the week, because it's a wonderful month, this month, the month of understanding. Now, you've requested